I don't think I've ever been happier to hear this song, mainly because it means Wednesday is over. Guys, we made it through hump day. We are on the downside, the downslope of the week. We are more than halfway to the weekend, more than halfway to the holiday weekend. Woo! Y'all, I am so stoked. I'm putting extra wine in my glass today. It is White Wine Wednesday. Happy hour to all of you out there. We're going to give folks a few minutes to get in the room. I want you to hop in the comments. Let us know where you are, what you're drinking. First timers, we want to see 3 stars up there. You guys know what to do. If it's anything like my Wednesday, it might take folks just an extra little bit to get in the room today, get something in their glass. It's been a little bit of a sludge, but we made it, and it's over. So it's time to drink. And it's time to hang out right here on the William Chris Virtual Happy Hour. I'm already adding an extra wine for a second time, and we haven't even really kicked the episode off. This is going to be a good one, guys. I can already tell. Tiffany. Marsanne. That is right. Carol Blackman. Good to see your name in there. Hi, Carol. Eric and Asha checking in from San Antonio. Drinking Skeleton Key White. Jeffrey says extra time needed for reels. Alta cheers from Frisco. Guys, I feel you. It's been one of those days. They're all kind of like, I don't know, a quarter step, a half step off of my game. I was a little bit late to talk to my special guest pre-show, backstage. Had to run and go get my wine. It's been a day, but that's okay because it's happy hour and we're going to have a lot of fun today. And we are more than halfway to the weekend. I've already said that, but I'm going to say it again. We're already more than halfway to the weekend, guys. Who else is here? Kate, driving home from work, which will be your new normal for happy hour. Hey, guys, I get it. Things are changing right now, but I love that you're still tuning in. Please, I hope that your phone is in a safe place or your computer's in a safe place and you're just doing a lot of listening while you focus on the road. Could be like a DJ for folks now. I never even thought about that. Judy, what's up? It's 5:02, guys. We're going to give them about 30 more seconds for folks to get in here before we kick this off. We are going to be doing Ask a Somm Anything today. We've got my friend Lindsay back in the house. It's going to be a lot of fun. Doug from Allen, drinking the first thing you touch. I love that so much. Katie back again from Richmond. Okay, I think the song fading out is a good sign that it is time to kick this White Wine Wednesday off. I imagine we're going to have folks dragging in just because it's taken quite a few of us a while. And that's okay because it's time to have some fun. Dottie in Lubbock, it's good to see you there. Guys, it is really warm. I don't know how much I'm thankful for the shade for this happy hour. I might have to rethink doing this happy hour outside every time because it's starting to get warm. And it's that gross, humid warm. But let's not talk about the weather too much, guys. It is the end of Wednesday. Let's bring up some William Chris team members, some friendly faces. And because she was in charge of today's happy hour tunes, and let me know that was the first concert that she ever snuck out of the house to go see, the wildly famous Lisa Flick. Lisa, how are you, friend?
I'm excellent. How are you? And who doesn't like a little cheap trick, right?
It's seriously going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the night. No doubt.
You're welcome.
Well, Lisa, I think it looks like you're likely at the high estate. Where are you and what are you drinking?
I am in room 3 of the farmhouse where the big vine is right behind me. And my best friend, Enchante.
Oh, is it the current release at the 18 or the 17?
Actually, this is the 17. So.
Okay. Awesome. Well, cheers, friend. Happy hour.
Cheers. Happy hour. Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Well, you guys know that I love to open with music, and I asked Lisa to play DJ today, and so that was quite the amazing throwback tune, and I am very happy about it, not gonna lie. Next up, let's go out to our friend Kelsey. Kelsey, hi, friend. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Where are you, and what are you drinking?
I am at William I'm Chris today. I'll give you guys a little preview of how pretty it is outside. And I am drinking some Pet Nut, the 2019. So it was a little explosive, but we made it through.
But you probably didn't shake it up on purpose and saber it with a kitchen knife and have it explode all over the place, did you?
No, we did not do that. Opened
Smartly
it safely
so.
on grass.
Hey, do me one more favor. Can you flip your camera again one more time and just let it sit there for a sec? I'm going to pull myself off the screen just so.
It's so beautiful here.
Let's see how I can do this. Yeah. Well, hold on. We got to get Kelsey back up here. How do we do this?
Just a really nice day. Just a beautiful day out, everyone. We miss you guys.
Okay,
So
thanks,
nice.
Kelsey. Gosh, y'all, I just want to do that maybe just for my own sanity. The vineyard is looking so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's that like perfect picturesque time of the year. And we are beginning to slowly reopen to our members. And we're going to talk about more of that at the end of the episode. But guys, it's a great time to be outside and seeing the high estate. So Kelsey, it's good to see you, friend. Happy hour.
Happy hour. Cheers.
All right, party people. Gosh, I need to go see those vines too. I did drive out to make a cheese delivery, and it was good to see some of the faces of the team yesterday. Got to say hi to some folks. But guess what, guys? I know we had love seeing our William Chris team members. We are welcoming back one of our special guests who've been on here before. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi. It's very good to see you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm really excited to do an Ask a Somm Anything segment. I think we're probably gonna have different answers to quite a few of the questions that get asked, and that makes it even more spicy and fun. Where are you, and what are you drinking, friend?
I'm at home again. You can say hi to my dogs, Lady and Fella. They're over here. I can't. I'm like so backwards. I can't tell which way to go. Lady and Fella. Am I the lake?
Hey, if you hold up your fingers like this, the one that looks like an L is your left.
You're such a jerk. You're so funny. It's a mirror image. It's awkward. Anyway, what am I drinking? Well, you told me it was White Wine Wednesday, so I decided to go big, and I got a magnum of beer glass. Cheers, buddy.
Okay, no big deal. So it's not just White Wine Wednesday. It's like very big White Wine Wednesday.
Yeah, we got some magnums in at this shop recently, and they're like $14.99, by the way. And so, yeah, we got some pretty cool. It's got a touch of age on it. It's 2015, but it's delicious. And I
tell folks what that is, because I don't know if folks necessarily know that wine.
Okay, so Chanson's a producer. Let's see, I keep going back and forth. And the Vier Classé is going to be a commune in very, very south Burgundy in the Mâconnais. But they have like their own little AOP, and it's delicious.
So the grape, for those who don't know what they grow in the Mâconnais in southern Burgundy?
Chardonnay, if it's white.
Chardonnay, guys. I've been drinking way too much Chardonnay. I can't believe that Magnum is that cheap. I will be hitting the shop tomorrow, likely. That's incredible. And don't all of you Austin people watching this beat me to it, because then we'll have to have words. Okay. Lindsay, it's good to see your face. I'm going to bring you back up in just a bit for the Wine Nerd section, so I'll see you in a sec, okay? Mm-hmm. Cheers.
Cheers.
Y'all, it is White Wine Wednesday, and I am drinking a delicious white wine. So let's talk about it. So here we have, let's make sure I get this in front of the camera, Marsanne from One Way Vineyard. Okay. 2018 vintage. You know, for a white wine, a lot of times we talk about crispness. We talk about refreshing. We talk about citrus and lemon lime. This is not that, okay? And we have been talking about, if you guys remember, my friend Molly who came on, we did big whites. We talked about malolactic fermentation or malolactic conversion. And anytime that you let a white wine go through malo, then that malic acid that gives that tart green apple note, and a lot of times ends up with higher acidity and lemon lime notes, that decreases. And a lot of the things that bring out a heavier texture and you get these like creamier textures in your mouth, the lactic acid, it also, for me, in this particular wine, brings out things like apricot and peach, some more stone fruit. Yep. I mean, it's not acidic, guys. It's still got a nice little hit. Maybe like red apple. It's still a little tart, but mostly, guys, this for me is all about that creaminess. That malolactic conversion gives more weight and body and texture and honestly complexity. And it's not buttery, but it's headed that direction. And so when I'm thinking, and first of all, before we get there, the reason this went through malo, and one of the things we do with our white wines that we want to go through malo is we'll age them in neutral oak. And so this did see 5 months in neutral oak. And in terms of food, because you guys know that I'm loving, and I love, Katie's beating me to this, shrimp scampi. So my very first food that I wrote in my notes, not kidding, guys, that I wrote in my notes today is garlic butter shrimp. And so that is like right on the money. Go get you some shrimp, throw a lot of butter on it, and just hit a home run with this Marsanne. And full disclosure, though I don't think it is like the world's greatest dish in seafood, but it seems a lot of people do. I think this would pair really phenomenally with some lobster bisque. The richness in that dish and the richness in this wine are going to pair really nicely together, but it'll also allow that tiny bit of tartness that's still there to kind of shine through and brighten up that dish. So get yourself some seafood basically with this Marsanne. I mean, you can do chicken with it, but I think this is really going to shine with a little bit of seafood. So I'm going to pour myself some more. I think that's like the 4th or 5th time already in the beginning of the episode. I'm really digging this wine, if you can't tell. It does have similar notes towards other bigger white wines. So I would call this like a medium plus bodied white. This is not a light bodied white. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so pleasurable right now is because I've been drinking so many acid-driven, refreshing wines. It's like, oh, something new, different roller coaster ride. I'm in it, you know? Okay, so that's enough about me talking about what I'm drinking. Guys, I am excited to bring my friend Lindsay back up. So let me do that. Hello again, Lindsay. Guys, for those of you who were not here for Lindsay's previous appearance on our show, I'll give you a little bit of background. This is that fun, like former top 3 Somm at Tech Somm Best Sommelier competition note where it's, guys, Lindsay has like all but had the gold medal 3 different occasions. But that also means she was top 3 at Tech Somm 3 different times. Like
only 2 times.
Oh, 2 times. Well, whatever. You were top 2 separate times. That's unbelievable at that competition. So has been a part of running a couple of programs here locally and is currently at the Austin Wine Merchant. And that means I'm excited to be with her in this segment. Guys, we're going to share the stage. It's likely that we're going to have different answers for this. But today we are going to do Ask A Somm Anything. Okay, guys? So I want you to think about all those questions that you've wondered about in wine. I'm going to have probably our special guests kind of grease the wheels. And then I'll probably even pull up that list so folks can see it on the screen so that they can get some ideas. But we want to know all those questions that you're too embarrassed to ask, have always wanted to ask, or like have always gotten different answers. Or it can just be about our preferences in wine, you know, like what's our favorite wine? I feel like I get asked that one all the time. Like, okay, D, you're a wine professional. Like, what's your favorite wine? And I feel like that's so hard. Jeffrey, I see that question. I'm coming back to it. I love that. I do want to talk about that. I have very strong thoughts and feelings. First up, though, I want to pull up my friend. Let's see who we're going to go to first. Let's go with Kelsey first.
Okay.
Kelsey, we're going to let you kick off the Ask A Somm Anything today. What question do you have for Lindsay and myself?
Okay, so the one question I've actually like thought about multiple times is, you know, I'm sitting at a restaurant and, you know, I'm pretty new to William Chris, so I'm pretty new to like learning about very intricate details of wine, and I'm learning a lot, obviously. But when I'm at a restaurant, I'm trying to find the best like bang for my buck, I guess you would call it, and I want to like make sure I'm getting like a good wine. So what is like your recommendation as to like how to find a good wine at a restaurant for like a fair price?
Okay, Lindsay, I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
I love this question. The best way to find the best wine that's a value is to ask your server, ask your bartender, ask to talk to the somm. You can tell probably from these happy hours that we really like to talk about wine and we're opinionated, and we're going to find you something that's going to be phenomenal and wonderful that we think is really cool and nerding on. And I think actually that part of the interaction as well of getting to talk to somebody and interact adds to the enjoyment of a bottle, certainly adds to serving one. So ask, just like say, hey, I like this. What are you excited about? Like, what do you think is the best thing ever? And if there's something new on the list, if we've gotten a special deal, like $14.99 Magnum, we're going to tell you about it.
For sure.
Awesome.
And I want to bring up something that I feel like a lot of folks mention when they ask this question. A lot of times they're like, so I don't want to order the cheapest wine on the menu. So should I order the second, like the next cheapest wine on the menu, right? Like I've been there. I thought that was a thing. Guys, there's no like secret magic most of the time to that, like whatever next cheapest wine is. So it's not necessarily like the best value. It's not necessarily the best wine. It literally just is, from a price point perspective, the next cheapest after the most cheap, right? So I don't want you to default to that, because that is not a good approach. Much more in the line of what Lindsay's talking about, guys. My favorite question to ask a somm at a restaurant, and I still do this because I can navigate my own list just fine. I know plenty of producers. I still want to talk to the person who created the list, and I want to ask them, what are you most excited about right now? And they're normally going to geek out. They will let you know if they just got a deal on some like back vintage clearance from their distributor, like whatever the case is. You're going to find out the info you want by asking the somm, what are they most excited about? And that is what you want to do 100% of the time. And it's okay if you don't like their recommendations. Their feelings are not going to be hurt. You don't have to like the same wine they do, but at least let them head you down that path to knowing what they're excited about, because that's going to end you up in a place that you want to be. So great question, Kelsey. Way to kick us off.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Guys, I also just want to shout out Kelsey, who was brave enough and courageous enough to say hey, I work at a winery and I'm still learning about wine. Guys, I'm a wine educator at a winery and I'm still learning about wine. There is no shame in us all being on different parts of our wine journey and being okay to admit that, and tell wine professionals that, hey, I'm still learning a ton. Don't be afraid of mispronouncing things or using the wrong terminology. We're not out here to play gotcha, Okay, this is enough of me talking. Let's pull in something from the comments first. What is the etiquette on tipping sommeliers? Because I let Lindsay go first last time, I'm going to go first on this one.
Thank you.
And I'm going to give a disclosure. First of all, Lindsay has way more experience working on the floor of a restaurant. However, I do have strong feelings from a supporting the industry and understanding the way that pricing and your tips work in a restaurant. Guys, if you can't tip the same amount, let's say your default is 20%, which I hope it's on that upper end. I know for some people it's 15. Whatever your default amount is that you are tipping for folks, and I'm going to give an example as 20%. If you are not prepared to tip 20% on the bottle of wine that you ordered, then you probably shouldn't be ordering it. Okay? You were prepared to tip that amount on your food, and you should be prepared to tip that amount on the wine that you order. Okay? And maybe that brings the upper end price point of what you're able to afford down a little bit. And that's a part of it. You're not going to order the most expensive food item. You shouldn't be ordering the most expensive wine bottle because it is expected that you tip on that bottle. And guys, especially if you're coming over, asking a somm to come over and help you navigate the list, which you should be doing. 100%. That's why they're on staff. That's why they get paid. Honestly, they love it. That's why they do the work that they do. So it brings them joy, but they're bringing immense value to your experience, and you should be able to tip accordingly. So that is my personal opinion. That is something I feel strongly about, and something that I get. Sometimes that means that, $100 bottle of wine is actually going to cost me, plus tax and tip, maybe $130, because I'm going to tip on it. And I think that waiter or somm should get that tip money. And most places that have full-time sommeliers they're doing tip shares of some kind, or have figured out the compensation in a way that's fair to the somm. I'm going to shut up because Lindsay actually has the experience to speak to this.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the one thing, when you say it's expected to tip 20%, I think that not necessarily from the staff, right? We don't expect you to tip, but the IRS does. And so if we ever get audited for our taxes, and they go through our sales and they say, well, you sold this much and therefore should have made this much, and therefore we think that you're lying on your taxes, that gets us in trouble and can. And then, I think it depends on the situation. There are certain different restaurants have different tipping structures, and as you said, a tip share. So in some very crummy situations, right, not crummy, it's set up. So the server gets the tip, but then they tip out the bartender who made your drinks, right, who made your cocktails, and they tip out the somm who served the wine. And so the structure is based off of the sales. So let's say you had, $30 in cocktail sales. Well, then you're expected to have been tipped $6, right? And then 40% of those sales are tipped out to the bartender. So if you're not tipping the full 20%, your server could actually be losing money in that situation.
Yeah, and I think, gosh, that's so important for folks to know, like the math behind that. Guys, I want you to hear that one more time, and correct me if I'm wrong in repeating this. If you don't tip the full amount on that wine bottle, then the server has the potential to actually be losing money that they should have gotten for serving you during dinner.
Yeah.
Because of all of the formulas that go into splitting tips within the restaurant, and like tax expectations from the government based on your sales, et cetera. Since guys, you all know this, everybody who's watching, tips are figured into the amount of money that they make at almost all restaurants right now. I mean, there are a few hand-selected restaurants that are doing like the no-tip living wage thing, but those are few and far between. So, man, guys, this is good stuff. And hey, I just want to say, like, I know money is not a comfortable thing to talk about for folks a lot of times, but like, this is all about supporting and taking care of our people, right? Like, just in the same way that you're supporting your small business right now during the pandemic while they're closed and you're wanting to buy their goods. When we reopen restaurants and you are wanting to be back there taking care of the people that are taking care of you during your dinner, providing an incredible experience, keep this in mind. It's important to take care of our folks. So, and here's a good follow-up. I'm going to pull this up just because it's a follow-up. Catherine asked, can you tip just to the somm?
You can make a request, I think. But if that's the case, like, bring cash, I think, because, in the situation that I was just talking about, it's a formula at the end of the night. It's basically a giant spreadsheet, depending on where you're talking, where they have a server has a checkout, and it says alcohol sales here, wine sales, food sales, these sales, and the manager is just plugging that in and then dividing it up through an algorithm through a spreadsheet. So if you want to make sure that you're giving extra love to your somm, bring cash.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's ever going to turn down you like flipping them a 20 or a 50 or something really nice. Like, but we will thank you for that and put it in our pocket. I want to address this one. You feel free to chime in if you have strong feelings. Jeffrey's asking, and this is actually like what a lot of people think. Can we just let the sommelier taste our wine as a tip if it's a nice one? So absolutely always offer, if you're excited about the wine, for the somm or the staff to taste if you're excited about the wine. But guys, I want to let you know, a taste of a bottle of wine does not pay the rent. A taste of a bottle of wine does not pay the electric bill. And so at the end of the day, like, keep that in mind. Lindsay, what do you think about that?
I mean, you said it. Yeah, wine doesn't pay the bills, but when someone is generous enough and kind enough to share their wine with us, it's the coolest thing. It's really great, and in certain situations, especially if it's a unicorn wine or something really special, we haven't gotten to taste it yet. God knows we've studied it. There's definitely a flashcard somewhere in our box of flashcards about it, but getting that opportunity to taste it is pretty special. So if you are that kind of generous patron, it's very cool, and please do. It's very neat.
Yeah, please. Like, guys, I think it's one of the ways I learned early on to just build rapport with staff at the places I love the most and get to meet people and learn about wine. Guys, wine is all about bringing people together and being generous and sharing. Like, everybody wants to share the wine. And I just wanted to throw this up on the screen. Alan's saying we all need to be tipping more right now to show our appreciation. Guys, I can't wait for all of us to be back in these places where we are able to tip. Obviously, you can tip for to-go, and you should be doing that. I hope you're doing that to support our local places. So, yes, I agree with you, Alan. And man, I can't wait to have these awesome killer dinners like we used to when the time comes. Okay, let's move on a little bit from the tipping, a sommelier thing. I'm going to bring Elisa Flick back up here and let her ask the next question. Lisa, talk to me. What question do you have for us today?
Okay, so let's go sulfites. So everything I've read, it says, okay, it's not a proven fact. It doesn't give you headaches. But I'm telling you, one of my girlfriend drinks this really, really bad wine. And it's like the wine version of brain freeze when you're a half a glass in. So does it really give you a headache?
Does she eat dried apricots?
Does she eat? No, I'm worried about me when I go to her house.
well, yeah, if you're worried about it. But do you eat dried apricots?
Occasionally.
Do they cause you a headache?
I guess I don't eat that many of them.
Okay. Dried apricots have 10 times more sulfites in them than a wine does.
Oh.
So if you are having those issues, check it out. But sulfites. I think sulfites get a bad rap. There's some environmental issues now along with it, but originally, let's talk about why it's on a label, right? Why a wine is required to say contains sulfites. In 1988, I should say, Congress passed a law. Thank you, Ross Perot. He spearheaded that one. In which a wine is required to say contains sulfites if it has 10 parts per million or more of sulfites in the product, right? Sulfites are a natural byproduct of the fermentation process, so they actually naturally happen in wine at the lowest 30 parts per million. So there's sulfite free is still kind of BS. To be very blunt. And the reason why Congress passed this is because there's a very small population of asthmatics that do have an allergic reaction to sulfites. And we felt the need to make sure that labels contain that. But if you're eating dried fruit, dried bananas, dried whatever, it has 10 times more sulfites than what you're going to experience in a wine.
Well, so to take it one step further, because here at William Chris, we don't add additional sulfites. In fact, one of Chris's famous sayings is that you get more sulfites from eating 6 shrimp than you would an entire bottle of our red wine. So in addition to being maybe a little bit more organic, what would be other benefits of not adding sulfites?
Well, okay, guys. So we're getting a little nerdy, and I'm loving it. A lot of times, sulfur is used. Particular kinds of sulfur are used to stop malolactic conversion. So if we ever wanted a white wine to not go through mallow, like all wine wants to go through mallow, and so if you don't want a wine to go through mallow, you have to stop that process. And one way to do that, and pretty much the only way to do that, is to add sulfur to it. To both your point and Lindsay's point, we are talking about very minuscule amounts of sulfur. All wine has it. Very, very, very tiny parts of the population have an extreme allergy to it. And that's why the warning's got to go on there. But those people are so few and far between. Most people are having reactions to histamines in the wine and can take a antihistamine in order to counteract that. And I will say the number one cause of headaches in wine is too much alcohol. Guys, alcohol.
What are you saying, D? What are you saying?
I'm just saying that most of the time when I get headaches, I had too much alcohol. That is also a poison that has dehydrated me. And my personal fix for that is to drink kombucha the next morning. For whatever reason, that helps me. That's been my fix. But no, sulfur, guys. We refrigerate a lot of our foods. There's a reason for that. Like all of our like produce and our milk and all that kind of stuff. Like we're trying to stop that stuff from going bad. And in wine, we put a little touch of sulfur in that to stabilize the wine so that it doesn't go bad. Now, there are a whole bunch of other things that can naturally preserve wine, and we are not going to go all the way down that road because this was a sulfur question. But let's just say for the overwhelming majority of people, sulfur is not an issue. It's more about alcohol and potentially about histamines. So that's I would say a bigger issue for some people than the effect of sulfur in their wine.
Yeah. Well, can I ask one more question then?
Sure, bring it.
So the histamine thing, could somebody be regionally affected by one wine but not another because of the pollen and things that are on that fruit?
That's a fascinating question.
Can you ask that one more time? Because I blacked out in the middle of it because it was confusing my brain.
I was using big words too.
I know.
So what I was saying was, okay, so if it's a histamine allergy, could you theoretically get wines from one region and not have a problem with it because of the pollen in that area, but get it from another area and not have a problem with it?
It's possible. I don't know that anybody's done that research, so it might be fun to go down that road. I mean, there are things like polyphenols and all kinds of other things that folks can be quote unquote allergic to that are involved in the winemaking process that like are just always going to be there. So, yeah. Well, Lindsay, do you have anything else to add there?
No, but I like your question. Theoretically, it's fascinating, and I actually kind of want to see somebody research that.
You're getting super nerdy. We appreciate your nerdiness about sulfur and histamines. Thank you. Okay, guys, let's pivot here. I am actually going to pull up one of the questions that I came up with some base questions because I want to know this for you, Lindsay. So let's make sure I can pull this up here. I want to know, what is your favorite fancy casual food and wine pairing?
Fancy casual.
You mean like fancy wine casual food?
Oh, fancy wine casual. Oh, God, I was going to go the opposite direction, do fancy food, casual wine.
Okay.
I really like oysters and muscadet. And muscadet, like the most expensive muscadet we have in the shop right now is like $17.50. So I think it's really awesome to have that. I really enjoy that pairing. I don't need champagne. Just give me muscadet. Well, I mean, I also need champagne. Just ignore what I just said. But yeah, muscadet is the way to go.
I'm going to have to go with, so I have a split. Can I give two answers to this one?
You're running it. So yeah.
Okay. The first one is pretty straightforward. I'm putting some questions up on the screen so our folks can, if you guys need some ideas for questions and want us to answer any of these, there's some of the ones I came up with. So drop some of those questions or let us know a number you want us to see answer. But for me, the casual fancy pairing that I think is magical is fried chicken and champagne. And that will like always be a thing for me. Especially if it's spicy fried chicken with a champagne that has a little bit of residual sugar.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of like greasy, like fried chicken with that like awesome acid to cut through all that fat, and then a little bit of the sugar to cover up the spice. Man, I just think like awesome. The second one.
Oh shit. So Jake and I once did honey butter chicken biscuits from Whataburger with Grand Cru Chablis. That was awesome.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's my favorite thing, like doing Grand Cru wine with like to-go food. I'm like all about it. I would say the other one that one day when I have Ikem, I'm not been lucky enough to have Chateau Yquem is, but I have done it with other Sauternes, is hot Cheetos and Sauternes. Guys, hot Cheetos and Sauternes will blow your mind. At some point in my life, I will use liquid gold, also known as Chateau Yquem, to have it with hot Cheetos.
Oh man.
Have you done that before? Have you done hot Cheetos and Sauternes?
I don't know that in my lifetime I've ever eaten hot Cheetos. So I'm sorry about that. I have had Yquem once. I was very lucky that somebody shared some with me. I honestly don't even remember what we were eating because I was just really stoked to be hanging out with that person and having Yquem.
You should be happy. Okay, we have Rinda chiming in. She wants us to answer the what is orange wine question. I'll let you take first stab at this and see if there's anything I want to add, but take it away. What is orange wine, Lindsay?
Orange wine is, okay, so we know that red wine gets its color from its skins, and that usually white wine is just pressed immediately off the skin so that it doesn't have any influence from the skin. So orange wine is white wine that has macerated with its skins. That's the simplest explanation, I think.
Bingo. Guys, yeah. The orange is all about the color. It takes on the like orangish hue. It is not because they added oranges to the wine or orange juice to the wine or making wine from oranges. Just like Lindsay said, it's just the skins, the white grape skins with the white must, the white juice that gives it color.
A little
Katie
bit.
Say it again.
It's just color and a little bit of texture, kind of add some oomph. Yeah.
For sure. And flavor and complexity. Like, I love orange wine. Katie is asking, spinning off of this, where can we find orange wine? Every time I ask for it, I'm taken to a citrus flavored wine.
Oh.
You need to find a new wine shop. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I can't say at the shop right now. We have a whole lot of them. We do have some Pinot Grigios that have some color to them. The Venica Yasura, being the one, but we don't necessarily specialize in that. But we do have a lot of requests for it. So sometimes we have several bottlings in, sometimes we have just the one, like right now. But there are certain wine shops that like to specialize in that. So there's a couple there. I mean, yeah, just ask around, I guess. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a different term too, Katie. Instead of asking for orange wine, maybe you can start by asking, can you have a skin contact white wine? Mm-hmm. That way they know exactly what you're intending. Because guys, that's 99.9% of the time when we're talking about orange wine, exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about a skin contact white wine. So maybe rephrase it for them and maybe that'll help. Okay, we have a great question that everybody and their mom, I feel like, has always asked. It's the legs question. Guys, this is one of the most famous wine questions in the world. I'm going to take the first go, and then I'm going to let Lindsay follow up with this. The easiest answer is, guys, legs on individuals that you're attracted to are maybe extremely important, and in wine are not. Really the only thing that the legs will let us know in a blind tasting is the viscosity of the wine. And viscosity is affected by both alcohol content. So higher alcohol means higher viscosity, means thicker legs, slower tears. Lower alcohol or lower sugar level means lower viscosity, which means skinny, quick tears or legs. Lindsay, anything to add?
No, you're spot on. Yeah, wine, I feel like legs is one of the biggest or like weirdest myths in like, I mean the Hollywood side, whatever, just wine, or the way that like people think about wine. So yeah, no, it's just all it indicates is the viscosity of a wine. If you're already drinking it, then you don't need to look at the legs. You kind of know. The legs only matter in a situation where a somm is blind tasting a wine, because we are graded on sight and then smell, and if those all line up, then then we've done well, and it makes sense with our calls and whatnot. So that's the only situation where wines matter. Or legs. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we are. It's Wednesday and we are running already late. So I'm gonna finish us with this question. I want to know for you, Lindsay, what is your last meal on earth, food and wine?
Oh God. Shoot. I don't know. Last meal, I think if it's last meal, I want it to be the coolest meal that I've ever had, which was in Chile. And they did like a whole cookout for us, and there were like these lambs that were roasting on an open fire. They were like splayed out. It was cool. You could like point to the section of lamb that you wanted, and he just like cut it off for you. And they just made this really amazing and welcoming dinner for us, and that was really neat. So I want to go and do that again, and then just drink. I think the best wine to drink is, especially when you're with somebody that makes wine, is their wine, so they can talk about it. It's pretty special.
I love that. I'm going to be a little more complicated in my answer. Newsflash, big surprise, right? I want to start out with my first course of oysters, like fresh from the ocean. Like I'm literally sitting next to the person. Yep. I want him to just like pull it right out there out of the water. I want him to open it in front of me. I want to be able to just like slurp it, and I want to have some like vintage aged champagne, like Blanc de Blanc champagne. Round 2, I want a thick, really thick New York strip, and I want some aged Bordeaux, Left Bank Bordeaux. Name your favorite, doesn't matter. One of the big famous houses. Just give me all that tannin and grip and delicious like tertiary notes. And I absolutely need a little interim piece here to refresh the palate. I want some Ernie Lucen aged Riesling to refresh my palate before we move on to dessert, which will be by the spoonful Tokai Azencia.
Mm-hmm.
With foie gras ice cream. And we'll leave you with that, folks. I'm going to die a very happy man.
I have a quick question for you, Dee.
Yep.
How excellent is your wine tasting today?
Pretty dang good.
Pretty extra special?
Pretty extra special.
It's a fruit day.
Oh, guys, y'all remember Lindsay came and did the biodynamic with us, and wine tastes better on a fruit day. Is anybody's wine tasting especially good out there? Because it's a fruit day, and today is the day you should be drinking lots. So I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm opening some good wine. Whatever.
Do it.
This Marsanne is taking, oh man. This Marsanne, yep. I think I'm going to just drink from the bottle. Okay, let's bring up the rest of the crew. I want Lindsay for you to be thinking about who we're going to cheers to. Guys, let's talk through these 3 things and get you out of here. Numero uno, guys, this week's virtual tasting, we changed the time. So Saturday's virtual tasting, 8 p.m. because nighttime is the right time. All right? Get your link there in the comments. If you still haven't bought your virtual tasting pack, you can pick it up curbside, which you should do. And you should join us. Guys, it's a horizontal tasting of Texas Mourvedre. I'm not sure anybody's ever done that the way that we're doing that. Like, we probably are the first. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's definitely the first for us. And, like, I don't know anybody else who makes as many and as much and as good a Mourvedre as we do. Full disclosure. Second, we are glad to be reopening for our club members slowly but surely, but just to our club members and their guests. So if you've been wanting to come and you're not a wine club member, now's the perfect time to join. The link is right there in the comments. Once we reopen to the general public for visits, that wine club will go back on a waiting list. So don't miss your opportunity right now. Last but not least, we are going to be right here tomorrow, 5 o'clock. I'm going to be drinking 14 High Estate Petit Verdot, and our friend Manny Nelson is coming on back. And we are going to have a lot of fun. All right, guys. Lindsay, lead us out with a cheers for the day.
Well, since I was talking about that really awesome dinner that I had with a bunch of winemakers, I want to toast people that get wine into a bottle for us, be them growers, be them winemakers, be them people who work the line, the bottling line. I don't know. Yeah, that sort. Yeah. Cheers to people that make us wine.
Cheers to all those folks, guys. Our vineyard team and our winemaking team's been working hard just on that thing.
Yeah, I really
nice.
want to Kelsey.
Lisa and Kelsey, thanks for being here too. Thanks to all of you out there in the world with your great questions. Keep them coming. We're always here to answer them. We'll see you right here tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Goodbye.
Bye.